Please join me in welcoming the filmmakers, Nicolo and Daumiller. Thank you for that devastating film. It was truly beautiful.
Thank you.
Can you tell us how you came to this particular story?
It came from my granddad, the guy I said thank you to in the end of but he was my step granddad, but he like were with me all through my youth. So when he died, I said I would like to do a movie about him, and then this came around. He didn't talk so much about it, so we had like 2 years in research regarding what happened in the small town in Gilleleje, and another small town around Copenhagen called Daumiller. So we put some of those stories together in just in one town. So.
And did you grow up in that town?
Yeah.
And so had you heard these stories from other people, or did people talk about it? Or?
No, they didn't want to talk about it for many years, because they knew they had done something wrong, and some of the fishermen did, and so. But the last 7 years they've been talking about a little bit what happened, and then we got some information, and then so on.
And was this the first movie you've written together?
Yes.
Yeah. Was this wasn't your first movie though?
My second.
Second.
Yeah.
So beautifully made, so powerful. I'm sure there are many questions in the audience. Does anybody have questions? Right here in the red sweater.
I was very moved. I know the story, not this particular one, but the Danish recipe was very famous in Holocaust literature. And I've always asked the question for many years, what makes a person say, I want to do the right thing and risk their own lives? How do we teach people to do that?
So, that's a very big question.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, maybe we all want to do the right thing, but we have also mixed up in. We are mixed up with a lot of things, and I think the fishermen that actually did the right thing, but maybe a little too high a price. They wanted to do the right thing, and also they wanted to make money, so that helped a little. I don't know.
I don't know if we all equal. So if you hurt somebody else, then you're hurting yourself. In my perspective of how to respect a human. So we equal, and I think that's the whole point for helping others. So.
Other questions? The question is, what happened to the Nazi Dane?
Which one?
The commander.
Oh, he went back to Germany, I think, after the war. We didn't.
Well, we didn't research what happened afterwards.
No.
But he's a real character, so
Yeah.
like many of them.
And what happened to Jacob and his mother?
They are not real characters. They are fictional characters. The family was fictional, put together of all the eyewitnesses' stories, and so that was fiction.
Yeah, they put together around 3 families, I think, story. So.
Other questions? Right there. The question is, will the film be released in the U.S.?
I don't know.
Thank you.
I hope so.
I have the microphone here. They handed it to me already, so I guess I could ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Of the 7,000 Danish Jews that went to Sweden, how many returned to Denmark versus staying in Sweden is one part of the question, and the second part of the question is how many people were killed in that tragedy that was depicted in the film?
Well, almost all of them went home to Denmark. Very few stayed in Sweden. And the other question was how many got killed? Well, there was 500 that were sent to a concentration camp in Germany, and there was about 50 people who killed themselves actually because they don't have the money to get over, and they was afraid. And there was very few actually killed. There was a couple of people who was killed during the Russia. Yeah. What's it called? Russia.
I have a microphone right here also.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is, considering the tenor of our times around the world, not just here in the United States, was it hard for you to raise money to make such a movie? And can you say how much it cost to make it? What kind of support you actually got?
In the start it was hard, and we've been like working on the script for like 2 years, something like that, and then the money came, and the producers wanted to do the movie, and the film cost around $4 million, I think, US.
And
It's
is
cheap.
Are these in Denmark? Are these famous actors?
Oh yeah. All the lead is.
So talented. So right here in the center.
I'm a Danish journalist, so I speak your language. I grew up in Denmark, and obviously I'm a Danish journalist, and I grew up in Denmark, and I've been here for some time, and I'm very familiar with this. I have the age which means that I basically my parents lived through that. I'm not Jewish, but I still knew a lot when I was a kid and heard about this. And I've always wondered why it was that no movie was made about this story. And so when I heard of you coming over here, of course I showed up. But my question to you is, why is it that this incredible story was never filmatized until now? And what made you decide to do it?
The truth needs to come out, and everybody around Gilleleje didn't want to talk about it, and that was the whole point. And the Danish government said we were so great under the Second World War, and we were, but there were so many bad people around, as I tried to show a little bit about this. So I think that's why. And the Dane did make one, but not that good. So I think that's why, because you couldn't get all the information out of the people from Gilleleje, and they didn't want to talk about it. And my granddad didn't want to talk about it either, because he said we were not heroes. And then when he died, I just had this like big hole in my stomach that I need to figure out what it was he did. And then I started digging, and then we met up and tried to write a script.
If it's okay, it's not a question, but I just would like to share some information. In Manhattan, on 61st Street and Lexington Avenue on the corner, there was a clock and watch repair shop, and the man that owned it was Danish, and I believe he was a member of the Danish Olympic rowing team. And he was one of the rowers that did that. And we actually honored him on Yom HaShoah in my synagogue a number of years ago before he died. But you mentioned something very interesting. When I was in Denmark and I was in the Jewish Museum on royal territory, I picked a book up, and the book is called What Is There to Say? And it was finally the Danish Jews who had survived and their experience in Sweden. And it was not a pretty story.
No, yeah, we know.
What was the story in Sweden?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of they let, just like the Germans let the Swedish let the Germans just go through without any like
Resistance.
yeah, and a lot of the military actually helped the fishermen with oil for the boats, but they didn't do nothing. It just like go through if you want to, and a lot of them were pretty angry about that. Yeah.
I know there's a question way back there. The question is, who was coordinating the funds from Copenhagen that was
Yeah.
paying for the people who couldn't afford it?
There was like a lot of small funds around, like up north of.
Jewish organizations or?
No, also Danes. Like yeah.
Many of those people who paid was very wealthy people who maybe had a little bad confidence. Maybe they have been too collaborative with the German, and then somebody comes and says you have to pay now because. And so many of the very rich people, they gave enormous amounts, and also some of those companies who have been making money on the German corporation also gave really a lot of money. So you can say that some of the money was to pay.
Has this movie screened in this town?
In July?
Have you shown it?
Yeah. We had the first screening in July. Yeah.
And what was the response?
Good. I was afraid because the story was like from July, and all the fishermen is not people you will like to make fun of or said that did something bad, because then you will get beat up. That's the way it is, and I but they were cool. I haven't heard anything, and I have been back since. And but it's gonna get screened every single October now on, and I gonna come to July every single October to do a Q&A or what they want, because I gave the movie to Gilalai, or we did. So it is a gift from us to Gilalai.
Is there a Jewish community there still?
No.
No. So, and who is the guy, the person on your arm?
That guy.
That guy.
My granddad.
I don't know if you saw right there, but so. We have time for one more question.
The bishop's declaration that the minister read, is that something I or anyone could find somewhere online? Was it a bishop of Copenhagen? There may be more than one bishop in Denmark. I found that extremely impressive. Is there a way I could, like a transcript?
The question is there a transcript of what the bishop said in church?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are. In English, I don't know. But in Danish, the whole thing is online.
Actually, it was the bishop in Roskilde who sent it out to every church in whole Denmark. So it should be written in every church that's Sunday. It's called Hyrdebrevet in Danish. I don't know how you translate it, but it's a famous. You can find it on the internet.
So, thank you for such devastating.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.